Hey guys, what's going on? I wanted to just do this little intro clip to tell you that the lesson you're about to see is from my Drumming Fundamentals course, and I'm going to be releasing these lessons throughout these next weeks. Okay, this was a paid course. This was part of the original course that I filmed for FisherDrumming.com for all the paying members. But you know what? This is one of the older courses. It's been around there for a while, and it's perfect for beginners. And I was thinking I want to make this available to everybody, and all the beginners that are just starting out on the drums should watch this. It's just so valuable. So if you enjoy this lesson, the only thing I would ask you to do is give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We got tons more content coming your way just like this. See you soon. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back, and thank you for joining me on another lesson. This is just a fundamental and foundational lesson. It's about understanding drum notation. It's about understanding note values. So a couple parameters we're setting up here. We're going to be talking in 4/4 time. We'll look at other time signatures later. And we're going to be counting even notes. We're not going to get into any triplets or 8th note, 16th note triplets yet. That'll come later. I'm just going to give you some 3 main note values that you have to know. That's going to help you really start to grasp and for me to communicate these basic beats and fills to you better. If we're looking at a measure has different lines. A measure has a starting bar line and an ending bar line. And all the notes inside of the measure are what you're going to be focusing on. All parts of music are divided into these measures. And each measure is separated by a bar line. There's different ending bar lines. There could be a repeat sign or a double bar line, meaning that you're going to end. But for now, let's just focus on one single measure. So the way to understand 4/4 time, quickly, just to remind you, the top number is how many notes you're playing in that measure. The bottom number is what type of note you're playing. So 4, if we're looking at 4/4, that means there's 4 notes, and there's 4 notes of quarter notes. So one way to help you understand the subdivision of notes is to just look at a note pyramid. Okay, so check it out. You have a whole note on top. A whole note would count for the entire measure. Then you can break it up into a half note. The 3 main notes we're going to be focusing on is the quarter note, the 8th note, and the 16th note. Now, if we subdivide that quarter note, each quarter note becomes 2 8th notes. Now we're going to have 8 notes in one measure. And it goes on. If we take that 8th note and subdivide that, 1 8th note is worth 2 16th notes. If we broke up each one of those 8th notes, we'd have 16 notes in a measure. So as you can see, it's really not complicated. It's just simple math. You just take it and you subdivide it into 2, and that's what the next one is. Now, check it out. There's different ways to count these. 4/4 time, we're going to be counting the quarter notes at 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one measure. 8th notes would be putting an and in between. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we still have those quarter notes there. Now we're adding a second note in between. So if we subdivide that 8th note into 16th notes, now that 1 8th notes becomes 2 notes. So instead of 1 and, we're going to count 1 e and because there's 4 16th notes in 1 quarter note. So we got, I'm going to snap quarter notes and I'm going to talk 16th notes. 1 e and 2 e and 3 e and 4 e and. So just as notes on a measure tell you when to play, rests on a measure tell you when not to play. And there's the same value of rest to show you don't play on this quarter note or don't play on these 2 16th notes. So check it out. You have your whole note rest, your half note rest, your quarter note rest, your 8th rest, and your 16th rest. So those are just symbols that you got to get familiar with when you're reading charts to remember which one stands for 8th, 16th, and quarter. Below me are 3 different measures showing the 3 different note values that we just talked about. The first measure has quarter notes, the second measure has 8 notes, and the third measure has 16th notes. And now I want you to try playing it on the snare drum. There's nothing special about what kind of pattern we're doing. All we're doing is alternating, and it's called singles, okay? Singles are just when you alternate your hands, right, left, and so on, okay? Back and forth. As I'm playing it, I'm going to be counting out loud so it'll help you follow along, and you can remember the the way we count quarter notes and eighth notes and 16th notes. So let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Okay, so there's just a couple things I want to bring up. You might be thinking, man, the pad, it's not as exciting as a beat and a fill and that kind of stuff. And you might be thinking, man, I just want to play some beats. I want to play some fills. I want to shred on the set. I don't want to be spending a bunch of time going over reading charts. And am I really going to use this stuff? And I totally get where you're coming from. So if that's the way you feel, just hang in there. I promise you, we're going to be playing lots of beats, lots of fills, and a lot of fun stuff. This is just that basic communication that we need to go over. In order for me to tell you, hey, let's play that 8th note fill with a 16th note lick in there, you're going to have to know what an 8th note is, what a 16th note is, and those basic fundamental principles of drumming so I can communicate it to you clearly and you understand exactly what I'm saying. Okay, guys, that's going to do it for this lesson on basic note values and understanding time and reading. Okay, this is an introductory lesson. There's so much more to learn, and so check out the next lesson with me, and we're going to start combining some of these quarter notes and eighth notes together in one measure so you can start getting familiar with what it's like to play them back to back together, read it, and then we're going to start applying these quarter notes and eighth notes to the drum set in beats and fills.